But the fact that someone who is relatively privileged in the United States of America can still feel so overwhelmed by our healthcare system that they would go to these lengths, that people who are relatively affluent still find themselves in medical bankruptcy, as you so rightly pointed out earlier, Piers Morgan, that 50% of families that have a cancer diagnosis in their family in the United States of America go bankrupt. That is where the moral outrage should lie. But
Listen,
hey, that's bars. That's bars, baby. One thing, like you can't defend dumb assness. All right, so I'm just going to get this out the way. Every time I see this individual's face, it just upsets me. And if you clicked on this video, you already know who I'm talking about. It's Piers Morgan himself. At first, I thought he was just some ignorant, individual who has a large platform conducting these debates, and he's just a babbling idiot. You know what I'm saying? But the more that I watch him, the more I understand he does that on purpose. And for that, he's a piece of shit for that. I don't care. He is literally the issue on why these kind of conversations, which could be in good faith, it should be able to be in good faith to where Americans can somehow, some way inch closer and closer to a solution, or at least to an understanding of some of these social issues or situations that are happening. And like they're going to get into for like the 20th time, because they don't know how to get into solutions, is the Luigi and the Daniel Penny situation. If you continue to have surface level conversations without digging deeper to the root cause of the situation or the issue, you're never going to solve the problem. You're only putting half-ass reused band-aids on a wound that should have been at least talked about in depth a long time ago. And especially with these situations, it is simple. Luigi cannot be going around killing people. That is a no-no. If you have any respect for human life, you will say, hey, you can't be going around killing people regardless of what they've done. Unless it's self-defense, you can't just kill people shooting them in the back. You can't do that. That is wrong. But the reason why he did it is the reason why people have no sympathy or empathy for the CEO, is because we know and we understand that these insurance companies scam people. They exploit people. They exploit human nature, that people are going to get sick with or without help, and they exploit that. And then they deny. While they're denying you, they're making millions and millions in profits. That is not hard to understand. So maybe it's crazy enough. Maybe we should dig deeper into that insurance system, how it's set up. But no, let's have a surface conversation on, was it okay for him to shoot him? Like, we're beyond that. And when it comes to the Daniel Penny killing Jordan Neely, yes, you can defend yourself or defend other people if they can't. Yes, I would expect people to do that. I would do that myself. But you cannot kill anyone, even if it's on accident. You have to be held accountable and responsible for your own actions. Based on the information, he had him in a chokehold for way too long. And people were telling him, hey, it looks like you're killing him. And he did not let go. That's simple. So he should be held for his actions, even if he didn't intend to do it. That's simple. But let's listen to this idiot right here, this piece of shit of a person who exploits American news for his own gain. That's his game right there. He exploits American people for his own selfish gains, and he continues to add these idiots, these disingenuous idiots, onto the panel to support that. But let's go ahead, take a listen, because this is my job. Somebody has to refute it, right? If it's not me, then who? So I'm here again, baby.
Justice It's all plainly wrong. There are clearly problems with the US healthcare system, some big problems. Medical debt is the biggest cause of bankruptcy. Thousands of people die every year because they lack insurance. That's not good enough. We don't have that problem in my country, for example. But cheering for the death of an innocent man because you decided that he's a symbol of those problems is cheering for anarchy. Luigi Mangione has now been charged with the murder, shouting that his case is an insult to the intelligence of the American people.
We need to do it. And it's completely out of touch. And it's an insult to the intelligence of the American people and the lived experience.
Today, some lunatic liberal women are bizarrely publicly drooling over what they perceive to be the hot assassin. The real insult to American intelligence is this infantilizing celebration of someone who committed, allegedly, a cold-blooded execution in the middle of Manhattan. Now compare the reaction from the left to the case of Daniel Penny, a US Marine Corps veteran who was finally acquitted of all charges for the death of Jordan Neely.
I didn't want any type of attention or praise, and I still don't. Mm-hmm. The guilt I would have felt if someone did get hurt, if he did do what he was threatening to do, would never be able to live with myself. And I'll take 1 million court appearances and people calling me names and people hating me just to keep one of those people from getting hurt.
Well, Neely was a tragic figure, that there's no doubt, a homeless drug addict and convict from a broken home. The system failed him. His family structures failed him. That wasn't why he died. He died because he was very aggressively threatening passengers on the subway, yelling he was ready to die or go to jail, and was prepared to potentially kill people to afford that eventuality. Daniel Penny placed him in a chokehold to restrain him. Other passengers who were on that train testified that they were terrified by Neely. They were grateful that Penny intervened. We used to call that kind of behavior brave, a good Samaritan, but Penny has been condemned by critics. Activist Tim Wise called him a racist, classist, ableist murderer. And on the steps of the courtroom, there was this.
We need some black vigilantes.
That's right.
People want to jump up and choke us and kill us for being loud. How about we do the same when they attempt to oppress us?
Right.
I'm tired.
Not a mention of what Neely was actually doing to terrorize the passengers on that subway, including women.
And it's funny how he wants to use that clip, which I don't know who that is. I don't know when that was that video was taken. But why would you choose that clip? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other intellectual people that you could have inserted that could have had more substance to the conversation. But of course, we're dealing with a disingenuous asshole here who should not have a platform. But unfortunately, dumb shit, dumb assness, it pays. But that's why we're here today.
Women and children. People do not want to randomly jump up and choke you for being loud. That is race baiting and an incitement to violence. We're sick of it. Both of these debates are complicated because of the systemic problems they represent. But for those on the extreme left who have apparently lost their minds this week, let me make it very simple. Protecting terrified subway riders from a violent criminal is good. Murdering a businessman because you don't like his business is bad. End. Well, to debate this, I'm joined by Natalie Winters, co-host of Steve Bannon's War Room, Clay Travis, founder of Outkick, Briahna Joy Gray, the host of the Bad Faith podcast, and Wajahat Ali, the host of Democracy-ish. So Wajahat, let me start with you. I found Taylor Lorenz's performance on Monday night on this show utterly staggering. She was already in hot water for celebrating the death of this executive. To then say that her honest, genuine response to what happened was one of joy. And it was unambiguous. She may have recanted it when she realized what she'd said, but she said it in the moment and she meant it. She felt joyful that an executive, a husband, a father of 2 children, had been executed in the streets of Manhattan. What would you say about that?
Now, once again, any disingenuous person would ask someone to answer for somebody else's statement, somebody else's feelings, their own perspective, either if it's right or wrong. What kind of dumbass question is that, Piers? You're a trash ass person. That simple. But I love the way that he answered it. And, we're not going to waste our time with this hour and 9-minute interview. So we're going to watch this, first like 5-6 minutes. And then we're going to go to Briahna's part, because she does a really good job of, cutting out all the bull and getting to an answer, which is why people should be watching this. But let's continue.
Yeah, so 3 things. Number 1, I can only speak for myself. For one, I can't speak for the panel or anyone else. I'm against vigilante violence. I think it's bad for a democratic society when people, especially in a country that has more guns than individuals, take matters in their own hand and kill unarmed individuals. I think personally that's wrong. Secondly, it's not just a left thing, because Taylor does not represent the left as one person. I'm against the murder of Brian Thompson. I thought it was a brutal, targeted murder. And I, for one, did not celebrate the murder, just like I did not celebrate a violent insurrection against our free and fair elections, where people, some with weapons, attacked the Capitol Police. And then that Capitol Police that was defending the U.S. Capitol and senators was mocked and ridiculed by people on the right. And then finally, I'm really curious, Piers, and I'm sure you are as well. We have some gray hairs. I have never seen this type of response. The fact that this is the one thing that has united so many Americans. When I'm talking about the response to Brian Thompson's murder, you've seen people from the left, from the right, every ethnicity, every gender, people sitting there. And instead of having empathy, you see outrage. Sometimes you see celebration. You see people on social media, on TikTok, on Twitch, on Facebook, using their own, face, saying, this is what's happening. And this is where I think we should really reflect upon, why are so many Americans, so many otherwise decent people, not necessarily feeling empathy, also sometimes being celebratory over the murder of a United Healthcare CEO. And I think you talked about it, touched upon it. It's because in this country, so many Americans, because we have such a broken system where we pay so much money, don't have access to healthcare, are denied health insurance, right? They're denied medical treatment. They're denied life-saving medications. United Healthcare has denied 32%, more so than any other company, and they based it on an algorithm. There is a festering resentment and anger and rage that I think has to be confronted. And if you are a CEO or a 1%, you don't have to justify any of this, but you have to look at the reaction, Piers, and say, this is what's happening in America. Why are so many people united? I mean, there was literally on Twitter yesterday when they arrested Luigi, right? There was hashtag free him and pardon. That is something that has to be confronted, and why you see a simmering rage against the 1%, the elitists, and the billionaires.
Okay.
See, once again, hey, beautiful job right there. He left alone the traps that this asshole here tried to lay, because that's the only way that he's going to get clicks on his videos, is if people argue over the dumb shit. But no, he said, I'm not going to fall for that. Let me speak about the substance of the situation. Our healthcare system is broken, and unfortunately, Luigi, no matter how of a beautiful background and how much money he had, he still felt what everybody else is feeling when it comes to insurance and their health. Screwed over. And unfortunately, he went about it the wrong way, but that's just a symptom and not the problem. But dumbassness like this here only want to deal with the symptoms, because that's what gets them clicks. But we're here to debunk all the dumbassness here today.
Clay Travis, I mean, let me confront that first off, which is, it shouldn't need to be confronted. It's disgusting. If you celebrate the death of an executive from a company whose policies you don't agree with, you're disgusting. You're inhumane. If you lack any empathy and are proud of that, or you feel joyful, you are inhumane. It is wrong. I don't care who it is, what political divide they come from, what the policies are. You don't execute people in the street, and you don't get celebrated when you do that.
But once again, Piers, who are you to tell someone that they shouldn't feel no sympathy or damn near rejoice if they understand, if they've been screwed over themselves, or if they lost somebody, like they died, Piers? People die when they don't have the attention or the lack of coverage or being seen by actual people in hospitals. They die because of that. And why? Because of an AI algorithm? So you're telling me that people are disgusting because they have no empathy for that CEO, but you don't want to speak on the institutions that purposely turn away these people for profit? Which one holds a little bit more weight, Piers? I think the institution, because they have killed hundreds of thousands of people for decades. And this is one CEO. That's not going to fix nothing. His death is not going to fix nothing. But maybe, just maybe, you can use a platform to speak on these institutions, and maybe, just maybe, this will fix or at least get closer to a resolve, to an answer for this broken healthcare system we have here in America. But of course, he doesn't want to do that.
I agree.
But secondly, Clay, I would say this: this extraordinary phenomenon of so many liberal women brazenly talking about the hot assassin, as if somehow the fact that he was.
And once again, I don't care about no damn who thinks it's hot. Once again, that's that dumb assness that people don't need to listen to. Like people don't need to listen to that. But hey, let's continue.
As his role as the CEO of United Healthcare, I'm afraid I'm with the overwhelming majority, bipartisan majority of the American people who say, I'm saving my empathy for people who are much more vulnerable, and have caused a lot.
Right.
Less
So to
harm
be
in
clear,
the world.
you don't have any empathy for him after he was executed.
I personally don't.
Right. Okay. Well, at least you're honest. Let me go to Natalie Winters. I mean, I find this staggering. You've got to remember, the left is supposed to be the party that cares so much. All of them have their "Be Kind" hashtags. They're the caring ones, the kind ones.
So for him to say the left is supposed to be the kind ones, supposed to be the caring one. So just by that statement, does that mean the right is void of those emotions and those characteristics? Is that what that means? Because the last time I checked, you don't have to be to be caring. You don't have to be a Democrat. That should just be something that's in each human being to be able to operate in, Piers. But once again, that bitch assness right there will find a way to politicize anything. Oh, well, the left is supposed to be the ones that care about life and, care about breathing. No, dumbass. That's not how that works. Once again, who hired you? And whoever hired you needs to be fired, needs to be kicked out the country and never to be seen again, because you are worthless, trash of a person. And I'm tired. I'm tired of it.
And they can't even bring it in their hearts to say they find a shred of empathy for a man who's just been executed, who's the father of children, the husband of a loving wife, and so on. I find that just staggering, that you can't, on a human level, have empathy for the murder of someone, but also make your point about the system in which he was an executive. What's your response?
I mean, it's absolutely shocking. And look, what it gets to the core of is the continued dehumanization of people, because in the sort of culturally Marxist paradigm of oppressor versus oppressed, you're allowed to do whatever you want to someone who has allegedly, or in this case, I'm not a supporter of the United States healthcare system or apparatus. Believe me, there's so many problems that need to be fixed and adjusted there. But condoning, which is in effect what these two panelists are doing, the assassination of him by a roundabout way by saying, well, the healthcare system is, you just told me that you had absolutely no empathy and that you think what people are doing by gunning down healthcare executives because of bad decisions.
And by the way, I do not condone vigilante violence in either instance. So don't misrepresent my view. If you can make your case without telling a lie, miss, then you should do it.
Hey, thank you, Briahna. Once again, the dumb assness is for real. The level of disingenuous for these dummies to sit here with a straight face and literally listen to what people are saying and then purposely twist it for their own political talking points is disgusting. And you're never going to have a constructive conversation with idiots like that. Briahna and the other young gentleman both said they don't condone people going out there killing. I haven't heard anyone say that. Maybe some weirdos on TikTok. I don't know. I'm not on TikTok, but I'm sure there's a few. But for people, sane people, people who understand, they're not saying you should go out there and take matters into your own hands. No. But we can talk about why someone did that, and maybe that can lead to a more constructive conversation. But no, when you have no argument, when you have no statistics, or you have no common sense, you revert to being disingenuous and purposely twisting people's words and their arguments, a straw man, so you can talk your talking points, because that's all you know.
You just for the 68 million Americans and their families who are killed every single year by the policy of the United healthcare system with its 32%
Okay, look, listen, Briahna, I'll let you speak, Briahna. Let Natalie have her say, and then I'll let people respond.
By the way, if you think Luigi Mangione is someone who you maybe have empathy or sympathy for, this is someone who had a very privileged upbringing, background, very wealthy family. The CEO of United Healthcare is someone who came from a working class family, went to state schools, didn't go to the University of Pennsylvania. Like I said, I'm not defending the healthcare system writ large, but to say that you don't have empathy because you view him as an oppressor of the American people is a perversion, not just of the system of law and justice in this country. But
okay, once again, how is that a perversion? And like I said in my previous videos, it's not like this CEO was Thanos of healthcare. Like you take down Thanos and then everything is gonna be okay. No, he is just, unfortunately, he was just another cog in the machine. He was just another tool to be used and can be easily replaced. He is not Thanos. No one is saying that he is the end-all be-all, but unfortunately, he took that position willingly, knowing the implications of his institution is causing to other people. You don't become the CEO on accident. That means you understand that you got to play ball, and you better make sure one side is winning. Obviously, you don't become number 4 in the Forbes list under Walmart and Amazon, and I forget the other big business. You don't become number 4 by helping people. you only do that by exploiting people and only for profits. So once again, he wasn't forced to be CEO. He wasn't born to that position, so therefore he has to bear some responsibilities of continuing to justify that institution. That's simple.
But that's extreme. You just said you don't have empathy for a man who was murdered in cold blood on the streets of New York. So what do you have for him?
You are
Sympathy?
obsessed with this oppressed language. It seems to be a bit of a kink.
You are so much so that you just said you don't have empathy for a murder victim.
I said, let me be clear. I said, as a person, interpersonally, of course, he has a family, and those people are feeling grief, and those people, as far as I know, are innocent in all of this. But the question is, here's the real question. Why are we asking random pundits, who might personally have been victimized, by the way, by someone like Brian Thompson, why they would have empathy for him and their family, while there's no question being asked about who has empathy for the tens of thousands of Americans who are killed every year by the policies that Brian Thompson has made millions and millions,
all right, Clay,
tens of millions of dollars off of.
Okay,
why are we talking about the fact that this 25-year-old, 26-year-old alleged perpetrator, went to an Ivy League school when obviously he was so still financially precarious, or obviously we don't know, the facts will come out. But the fact that someone who is relatively privileged in the United States of America can still feel so overwhelmed by our healthcare system that they would go to these lengths, that people who are relatively affluent still find themselves in medical bankruptcy, as you so rightly pointed out earlier, Piers Morgan, that 50% of families that have a cancer diagnosis in their family in the United States of America go bankrupt. That is where the moral outrage should lie. But when you go on,
hey, that's bars. That's bars, baby. One thing, like you can't defend dumb assness. You can't do that. And if you try to do, you're gonna look like a dumbass. If Luigi, if it's true that he came from a really wealthy background, why would he do such a thing? So the question should be, or your response should be, this healthcare system is so broken that even if you supposedly quote unquote have money, it can still screw you over. And it will push anybody to go to crazy lengths to somehow get some sort of justification of how they're being screwed over. It's that simple. It's not hard to understand, but unfortunately, when people are getting paid to be dummies, the sky's the limit at that point, I guess.
Don't get me wrong. Listen, I think...
Peers who have wealthy, affluent hosts.
Briahna,
the focus seems to be on the family of the millionaire and not on the families of the people who have been terrorized by this healthcare system.
You made your point. Listen, I'm in London at the moment. In the UK, we have the National Health Service. It's free healthcare for all. You know, so I find the whole system in America completely baffling, that a country of your size and power and economic muscle can't have a better system where people don't fall through the cracks in such large numbers.
So, Piers, why don't you navigate the conversation to that? Piers, I don't hate a lot of people. I don't. I probably have the number of people I hate you can count on one hand. But Piers, you're slowly making that list. You literally sat here and said, hey, you know, where I'm from, you know, we ain't got that problem in America. It's just so confusing on why you guys have the system the way that you do. But let's listen to his next point right after that.
Completely agree. But that is a separate issue to the execution of someone in the street. Clay, I could see you were...
It is the main issue, Piers. That is the issue. Piers, that is the issue. Oh my God, I swear I'm going to lose my shit dealing with individuals like that. And these idiots should not have the platform they have to continue to stoke these dumb conversations when, if you let the adults in the room, they can maybe come up with some sort of solution or something. But no, idiots like this continue to push the narrative to where it keeps people dumb and numb to the whole situation. Like I said before, you should not be killing people just to kill them. No, you have to unfortunately try to fix the system as best as possible. Killing people is not going to fix anything. From my knowledge, it never really has. You know, but if you continue to ignore the root cause of an issue, unfortunately, this won't be the last time. And Piers and the people he brings on that panel, not the more so left-leaning people, but the idiot AI talking point individuals, they're never going to get to a solution because all they have is talking points. But kind of lost my shit on this one. I wish I was a little bit more, you know, level-headed, you know what I'm saying? So we can have a more engaging conversation. But when you just hear that dumb shit every single day, it takes a toll on you, unfortunately. But once again, if you guys agree or disagree with anything that I said in this video, let me know in the comments down below or hit that Discord link so me and you, can have that one-on-one talk. And like always, let's have that conversation.